Hey everyone, I'm Brett Bakita from 96.1 The Game and Wood Radio and also Fox 17's Blitz, and happy to be here with the West Catholic Football Update, a Week 2 playoff edition as we get set for the district finals. Take a look back at Week 1, and you know this guy to my left, no stranger, head coach Landon Grove. And Coach, thanks for having me, I guess, on your show, right?
No, we've been mixing up our guest hosts over the last few weeks, so it's a pleasure to have you hosting. Obviously, everyone in the area knows a lot about you and your coverage ability, so blessed to be in here with you and looking forward to talking some ball.
Well, we talked to you a couple weeks ago. We had your Coopersville game, an outstanding shutout win for you guys, and kind of got you back on your feet after that tough Fruitport loss. But I got to ask you, as you've gone through this season, we started way back at training camp with our Fox 17 coverage. How has it been going through Week 1? Has it been smooth? Has there been bumps? I mean, you guys are off to obviously an unbelievable start, and here you are in the district final against Constantine.
Yeah, I mean, it's been relatively smooth. There's been a couple different, what I would call turning points in our season where we kind of had to rediscover and reevaluate ourselves. The first one came in Week 4 for us, just as like a program. We self-evaluated, and there were some things we figured out that we needed to do better, mainly myself and our coaching staff for our kids. So we redirected then. And then after Fruitport, it wasn't more so changing anything we did. It was just kind of like, are we going to allow that one loss to determine the rest of our season? Or are we going to stick to what we think works, trust in our process, trust in our coaches, trust in our kids, trust in our program to move forward? And our kids chose to trust and move forward. And as you said, in the game you covered against Coopersville, it showed that what we are doing is working. And that's a really good football team that we beat 37-0. I mean, as we all know, they just won against a really, really good Cedar Springs team last week in the district. So then we went forward to beat Unity Christian to win the Share of the Blue, who again is another good team who won in the playoffs. Really good showing last week for the OK Blue in the playoffs too. So it was a really good year for us that we're still hoping to keep going in a really, really good conference. I mean, our conference went 4-0 last week in the playoffs. So I think that says a lot about the depth and the ability in our conference, no doubt.
42-0, you guys open up the playoffs with a shutout win at home over Waterville Elite. Mm-hmm. And I got to go back to what you just said with Fruitport and then Coopersville and how it stacked for you in the regular season. It was sort of like playoff mode after that Fruitport loss because you're still playing for a piece of the conference championship, which you got. And then also, every game, every win was valuable to get points so you could have home field advantage, right?
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. I mean, I remember going into Fruitport week, looking at the end of our schedule saying the gauntlet is here, guys. Like, we got to get ready to go. And we knew winning all three was going to be tough. It was our goal to win all three because we wanted to win it outright. But, if there's ever a good time to lose, that was probably the time for us because it allowed us to kind of say, all right, what do we got to do to make sure that doesn't happen again? And we recentered our focus and got ready to go to move forward against a really, really good Coopersville team. And then, going into Week 9 with the championship type of game, which is all you can ask for going into a season. It's like, let's play for championships. So, it's prepared us really well. And then going into playoffs, again, every game is a championship game. It's winner to home. So our schedule lined up really well. We started out really, really tough with Edwardsburg, who's proving to be another really good team too. I mean, you're seeing what they've done the rest of the year. They're cruising. They cruised last week too. So our schedule's prepared as well. We feel confident, and we feel really, really good about where we're at as a program. And we have a heck of a tough challenge coming up this week too. So.
You look at little things that happen in increments as far as I always break it down since it's a 9-game regular season in thirds. And coach like to do that. So Bernie Barnsdale really stood out to me in the Coopersville game. Quarterback coming over, transfer from Wyoming. So he's got to get acclimated with everybody. And I was impressed how he's really starting to be a dimension that you guys can go to, you can rely on. He feels comfortable and the game seems to be slowing down. How big is that for you guys to be balanced come playoff time?
Oh, it's huge because in the playoffs, you never know what it's going to be. It could be bad weather where we got to be ground and pound, or it could be a game where, our run game's not working well. We need to rely on the throw game, which, if you've came to our games, every week looks a little bit different, quite frankly. Some weeks it's like there was one week where we threw for 4 touchdowns and Timmy doesn't score at all. And then, against Unity Christian, we had to really rely on Timmy to get going and run for over 200 plus yards and get us 5 touchdowns. So the ability to be balanced and do what we need to do to win any given week is a really big plus for us. And that was kind of by design. We went into the year saying we need to make sure we're distributing the football. We need to make sure we can throw the football. We need to make sure we can run option. We need to make sure we can run downhill with Timmy. For a lot of reasons. And one is so we can do what we need to do to win and when it matters. And then 2, to keep number 22 fresh. And when he feels really healthy right now, this is the healthiest he's been at this point in his career. So, and as a program, we're really healthy. So we feel really good about where we're at. And it's Bernie, again, like you can't give that kid enough credit. He's a senior coming to a new school, getting acclimated to a new playbook. And we do a lot of things. And he's doing a great job. He's doing a great job. And we can lean on him when we need to lean on him, which is a really, really good blessing for all of us involved.
You mentioned Tim with a big game against Watervliet. They really had no answer for him last week. Before we look ahead to Constantine in this week, which is a whole different challenge, perennial playoff power, unselfishness is what stands out to me with this football team. And it starts with Tim Kloska, because here's a guy who, rushed for over 2,000 yards, got a lot of accolades, got the Air Force commitment. He's kind of the one that you circle on the roster when people want to cover West Catholic coming back. But yet, when you talk to Tim, he realizes that this team is better if he's not the primary go-to guy that maybe he was a year ago. That speaks volumes to me, and the leadership and how that distributes to the team. But talk about, he sets the tone for that.
He does, and because it would be very easy for him to say, well, I need 30 carries.
Right.
I'm not having any. He couldn't give a crap if he has 2 carries. As long as we win, he's a competitor. He wants to win. So if that means that he needs it 40 times a game for us to win, he will do that. If it means he touches it 15 times and we win, he'll do that, because that's his goal. If it was about stats, he would tell you that last year was more fun, but for him, he would rather win. And that says a lot about him, and he cares about his teammates and cares about this football program. And he loves West Catholic, so he'll do whatever it takes to get West Catholic where he believes it should be.
Constantine Falcons. I'm going to go back in the history books here. They're Division VI power. They're down near the Indiana border. They get a little coverage on our Fox 17 blitz because they're in our coverage area, but they are a tough team. And it all starts with physicality. They've got a legendary coach. They always have bruising running backs, but they have better athletes, I think, than they're given credit for. And I go back to Tim Swore when he was at North Point Christian in Division VI. And there was a kid kind of like Tim Kloska named Kenny Willikis who's playing in the NFL. It was his running back. And I'm telling you, that was down to the wire game. They are something that you can't sleep on, as a West Catholic fan.
Oh, absolutely not. And if you, like you said, if you pay attention to high school football over the last handful of years, Constantine is in the picture every single year, especially in Division VI. So they're going to get our full attention. There's no doubt about that. That was a team when the district draw came out, it's kind of like, all right, if we take care of business, we're going to see these guys. And they run the T. So typically when you think T, you think, oh, they're big, maybe not as fast. They're definitely fast. They got a lot of really good athletes. They have Braden Clark, who's the leading rusher in the state of Michigan right now, according to Max Preps, leading point scorer, according to Max Preps, just ahead of Timmy. So, it's 2 of the best running backs in the state going head-to-head. And like you said, they're extremely well coached, and you can tell they're good at what they do. It's one of those things where it's going to be tradition versus tradition because our kids are used to winning and their kids are used to winning. So it's going to be a heck of a fight. I'm excited for it. And it's like you said, anytime you have 2 proud programs, it's always going to be a fun matchup. Because
you played Edwardsburg, does that give you a little bit of an advantage in this game as far as the prep? And the reason I say this is because when I talk to coaches, what's interesting to me about the wing tee is there's about 100 different variations of the wing tee. So what's the Constantine wing tee look like compared to the Edwardsburg?
So when I had to break it down with our fans, like Edwardsburg and Unity, they both run the tee, and they could not be any more different. Right. Unity is doing so many bizarre things out of the tee, like they're almost like a spread team. And then Edwardsburg's kind of like that more old school tee. They run power, they run trap, they run boot, and a few things, and they were really, really good at it. And Constantine's a little bit more closer to the Edwardsburg variety, I would say. And just like Edwardsburg, they love 3 yards. And if they get 3 yards on first down, they're fired up. And if they get 3 yards on second down, they're fired up. So it's one of those, they live and die off long drives. So it's going to be telling our kids like, hey, they're going to get some first downs. And it's just, are we gonna be able to mentally handle the bend but not break mentality again? Because we had to do that against Edwardsburg. There's no doubt it helps seeing it week 1 against Edwardsburg, who's arguably one of the best T teams in the state every single year. And having success against it helped a lot too. So I think it helps mentality wise. Like we've done a really nice job against 2 T teams already. It doesn't mean a whole lot because then any given time you play the T, like you could be one of the best defenses in the state, and any given Friday or Saturday in this case, a T team could get you. And they're so disciplined at what they do, where if we miss one gap, it's a touchdown. Or if we miss one tackle, it's a touchdown. So feeling good about it's one thing, but going out and executing the plan's another. And that's one thing I will give our kids credit and our defensive staff credit is we have a good plan every week, and our kids have executed pretty dang well every week too.
You're listening to and watching a Week 2 edition of the West Catholic Football Update. He's head coach Landon Grove. I'm Brett Paquita from Fox 17, also Wood Radio. You might know me from 96.1 The Game too. But this is my 30th season of covering the playoffs. And I've always ended at Ford Field, or before that, Pontiac Silverdome. Yep. And to me, there's nothing like the euphoria of the playoffs. What was that like, your experience here week 1? Because West Catholic does pretty good, as you know, and now you get another home game to reward those fans and your players with this week.
Playing at home here is unlike anything I've ever seen in high school football. I'm from Gladwin, Michigan, who's having a really good season. Shout out to my Flying G's.
Absolutely.
They're doing a great job in Division 5. And we had what I thought was an awesome environment because in Gladwin, there's no track around the field. And you take all these like 2-lane like side streets to get to it from the town. And those side streets are just lined with cars. There's people walking to the game. The whole town shut. That's your typical like small town stuff. So like to me, I'm like, dang, that's pretty cool. And then I was in Indiana at Elkhart where you're playing big 6A ball, and we had like 4,000, 5,000 people every year. I'm like, dang, that's pretty sweet too. And then like last year I was at Gibraltar Carlson in the Downriver League, and it's like that's a football crazy place down there too. Like we're playing teams like at Woodhaven. That felt like a college game. Every time we were home felt like college. And so I come to West County and think, okay, it'll be about like that. It's unbelievably different in a good way. Like this place is like a Division II environment. We have our VIP tailgate lot where you get hundreds of people there. The flags are flying, the girls are going, the fans are out there tailgating from 4:30 until kickoff. Then we do our Walk of Champions through it, and our students are great. Our stadium is always packed. It's hard to describe unless you come see it. So playing at home in this environment is awesome. And then when you add the playoff to it, it's just special because playoff time here for a long time has been a really, really almost like a celebration of 4 to 5 weeks. So just feeling that environment, you can feel it. And it's a little bit of pressure in a good way though. I've always kind of welcomed that. So it's exciting and it's a built-in advantage. I told our kids that, when that draw came out, it's like, now we thought we were going to be a little bit more closer like Montague's and Muskegon Catholic. When it came out, I was like, well, now we have to have teams from Southwest Michigan get on a bus, drive to us. They have to come in here. They have to see our banners. They have to see the tailgate lot. And that's an advantage for us. And we're excited that is an advantage for us for this week. And then if we win and take care of business, it'll be an advantage next week too.
You've had quite a coaching tree that has mentored you and been obviously impressionable on you.
Yeah.
As a high school football player and then going to Ferris State, what was the clicking moment that said, I want to be a high school football coach. I want to impact kids? Yeah.
So, going back to high school in Gladwin, I played for Josh Shattuck, who's the head football coach at East Grand Rapids now. And my experience with him was unreal. Gladwin is a proud football tradition. They were a little bit down, and then Coach Shattuck came in and, it took a couple of years, but he had us so bought in. Even his first year when we went 3-6, I was a freshman. My group of dudes we just loved playing for him. So it was like every morning we were in there, like there was 23 kids in my class. All 23 kids played throughout, and all 23 were at every weightlifting session. So it was one of those things where you're just like, dang, that's contagious. So I knew I thought about it. It was one of those things where like, okay, I think I could coach. And then I went to college. I started out as a pre-law guy. That obviously didn't come to fruition, but I played for Coach Anise, and Coach Anise and I became really, really close. We have a very unique relationship that I'm so thankful for because every time I see him, we hug, and I call him, he'll answer. We tell each other we love each other every time we hang up the phone. And playing for him was just like unbelievable. I'm like, man, like how do I not stay around football and stay around guys like him for a career? So for me, it really clicked then. And then I used to go help Coach Shattuck when he was in Indiana when I was in college, work youth camps. And I was like, I got to do this. So it was after my freshman year at Ferris. So I was like, I need to get into a major that allows me to coach. I got into education, and I ended up really, really falling in love with teaching too. So it's a win-win for me where I get to coach and I get to teach and do two things I really like and I'm really passionate about. And being around those guys, those coaches like Coach Shattuck, Coach Anise, and then even at Ferris, guys like Coach Kasula, who was at Michigan, who's at UMass now. Coach Brady's at Saginaw Valley State. He's the head coach. Coach McEwen, who's the head coach at Davenport. And just being around a bunch of great people who have such a strong influence on young men, I want to just repay that. And I want kids to have the experience I had. Like all my best friends are from football. The reason I met my wife is because I got to go to fairs and play football. And I met her there because she played basketball. So like not all the good things, but most of the good things in my life have come through football and building a relationship through football. So I feel like I can give that back through education and through coaching.
Lastly, about 30 seconds left. The game is Saturday, 1:00 here at Falcon Stadium on campus at West Catholic. Difference of having an extra day of prep from Friday. Coaches are funny about that.
Yeah. For us, we're going to use it as an advantage because we feel that we can prepare better than anybody, and we're going to we have a very unique week set up, so we like it. We're welcoming it, and we're excited. And I think it's something that's going to work out in our favor. It is different, but sometimes different is good. Change up the routine, and our kids will be ready to go like always, and our staff will be ready to go like always too.
I normally say enjoy the drive to Ford Field because I know how coaches are this time of year. I can tell by your face and what you've shared with us. You'll enjoy it. Yeah. Best of luck against Constantine on Saturday.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much, and it's a pleasure having you here.
Hey, thank you. That's the West Catholic football update. Don't forget district final action in Division 6. Again, Constantine coming to West Catholic 1 o'clock on Saturday. Thanks again, Coach.
Thank you.